There's been one character that I've been wondering about since the base game first dropped. Having gone through plenty of lore videos, this one in particular is none other than Saint Trina. In the DLC, you finally get to meet her and see her for all her glory, beauty, and overall ethereal creepiness. Just getting to where she was at was difficult enough, but it was all the more worth it to see the environment and see the design of this character as a whole. Like his mother America, Mikola also has another form, had another form he could have changed into, that being Saint Trina, who you see here. And if you remember from the gameplay or story trailer for the DLC, you can see a part in which he dropped her into the depths below. It's a blinking and you miss it moment, but she's there. And I just think the parallels between Mikola and Griffith are they keep piling up as I keep making my way through this DLC. I got about a few Remembrance bosses left before I eventually make my way to the final boss. For now, I'm just taking my time. When following the quest line, eventually encountering her, the thing she says to the Tarnished, it had me shook at like 2 a.m. I haven't had that feeling since I played Bloodborne and those certain NPC quests. The first thing she said was, "Make Mikola stop. Don't turn the poor thing into a god." If that wasn't creepy enough, the next thing she said, "Godhood will be Mikola's prison. A caged divinity is beyond saving." And then finally, "You must kill Mikola. Grant him forgiveness." After that, I was shook. It was time for me to log out for the night. After beating up a putrescent boss, just to get to her and encounter her, she's in the form of one of her lilies that you encounter in the base game, St. Trina's lilies. And I just think the way FromSoft was able to incorporate that little item into her overall design aesthetic, just because I would have never thought of that in a million years. But that's where most of my influences lie nowadays, between these FromSoft games and other adjacent. In my head, I keep calling Mikola Griffith. For those Berserk fans out there, you know the parallels between the two, and I just can't help but stop calling him that. They both thought they were doing the right thing, but in essence they were hurting everybody around him, using his loyal followers for his own gain and his vision. So when I eventually do meet Mikola at the end, it'll feel right. Consider it my get back for guts at the end of the Golden Age arc. For the first time I viewed it, however many months ago that was. That's how I'm treating it in this DLC, as a matter of fact. And for my next piece, I'm weighing in on whether I'll do the Putrescent Knight next, or the Lord of Frenzy Flame. I'm open to suggestions, but can always sound off in the comments, or I'll just leave it up to myself. Flip a coin. That's usually what I do when I'm at an impasse. Outside of them, the only bosses that's giving me trouble more than those were the Black Gel Knight, which was optional, and the Mother of Metas, that giant finger thing, which in the second phase, it just uses a goddamn black hole on you. I don't even know how that makes sense. I'm gonna need an explanation for that, but I don't know how many tries it took. Just know that I knocked it out. And of course Mesmer, but I found him by accident. I'll come back to him when I'm ready. He doesn't seem as hard as people are making him out to be. Like, I can get to his second phase easily. I wouldn't say easily, but once he does get in the second phase, it's like all these bosses in this DLC, they turn into Beyblades with their spinning attacks, which is unhinged, but that's what I got all that endurance for. Just rolling, keep on rolling, even though 9 times out of 10 they still knock me out of it. Part of me wishes that there was like a God-win boss battle, because he's really the only demigod from the game in general that we have yet to meet, other than like his corpse in the lower depths and like the death roots and like images of his face throughout the lands between. But maybe they're saving him for the future, or that's just where his story ends, considering he was one of the strongest, could go toe to toe with Primer Dawn and all that. I think there's just more story that FromSoft wants to tell, but they're leaving it out of this DLC. And also with Melina, her being Mesmer's little sister, though it's not officially stated anywhere. The clues are there, item descriptions and all that. Like, I wish she was mentioned more in the DLC, especially if you didn't do the kindling yet. There's just so much more on the table that they haven't given us. But this is still more narrative driven than their other games, aside from like Sekiro maybe. And one thing about this DLC, on a tangent, it's made me learn to appreciate America more. More in the sense of, it gives more information on where she's from, what she's dealt with, and why she was the way she was with her children and the omens in particular. Essentially, she didn't know how to cope with the trauma she endured, and she lashed out on Moog and Margot. But that's for another video. As for now, I think we're near the end of this. Last touch of renders. I'll catch you in the next one. And as always, stay riding. Peace.